Well, with our position sitting comfortably in the Premier League, but with no threat of really challenging the title now, we can have a little bit of a change of priority because in the Champions League, we got a fairly fortunate knockout round draw. And in the FA Cup, we've got a very nice draw. Today, we've got two huge games though, as the Premier League champions are struggling. We've got a second leg of a Champions League tie, but we've just got to be professional. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 87 of Saving Southend with me, Daniel. We are back today for the second leg of our Champions League playoff tie against AS Monaco. We're in a pretty healthy position after a good win away from home in the first leg, and we might gamble on our squad selection today for the final time in that competition, just to try and wrap up a top 4 place, because 3 days later we play Manchester City. We are currently 10 clear of Liverpool in 5th. They've got a game in hand though, and Manchester City 12 points behind, but can close the gap to 9 with a victory in this one. So if you're looking forward to seeing how we get on and how our squad is shaping up, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. But the bad news really is that after the last episode, we saw that defeat where we played pretty well against Liverpool. It started a little poor run, which is why we've dropped away again. After that win against Liverpool, we lost by 5 goals to 3 at Aston Villa, as yet again we collapsed against them. We've been 1-0 up so many times against Villa and got nowhere near a victory. Eric Garcia's own goal did give us a glimmer of hope, and Lewis Herbert late on, well, let's be honest, it was only really a consolation. Desiree Doué amongst the goal scorers for the hosts. We briefly managed him in the head coach this year. We followed it up with another defeat against Chelsea, this time away from home. You saw us lose at home to them in the Carabao Cup quarters. This time it was turned around from 1-0 up again. Normally we're the side finishing strong, but on this occasion we were down to about 13 or 14 players that were fully fit. And you see when we tend to struggle in this saves, when we have a 3-game week where we're playing Premier League matches the whole way through, or a top Champions League side, we either have to gamble in one game or risk defeats, and despite Bernberg's goal, that's what happened here. Against Wolves at home, though, another one of those bizarre old games. We went 1-0 up early for Joe Wills, who then got sent off for a ridiculous lunge just before half-time. Despite that, we hit on the counter and scored a second with Sakat Zuka. And then late on, we did concede one, but it was nothing more than a consolation. Against AS Monaco, we won 3-1 away from home in the first leg. Wills was able to play because we knew he was suspended against Spurs, and he will be against City as well, I believe. So we can definitely play him no matter what. He scored 2, Herbert got 1. Very good win to bounce back. And against Spurs away from home, a big 1-0 win with Teddy Ivanov. And by the way, in this game, Jude Sadler was brilliant. He signed that new deal now. He's ended the unhappiness. And there's no surprise that generally, take the Villa game aside, our defensive record has now improved. So really pleased with where we are going into this. And you look at the rest of our season, and this is perhaps where I'm most intrigued and why I'm maybe not going to give it up against City yet. After that City game, of the top sides remaining, we've got Everton at home, who have been a Champions League side most years, but are now 14th. Newcastle away, who are 6th. Aside from that, we're playing virtually exclusively bottom half teams. I think we've got a chance at pushing United close if we can stay injury free and if we can get a result in a City game. So I am tempted to gamble a bit against Monaco where I wouldn't normally. But of course, depending on who we get in a Champions League last 16 and whether or not we push for that. And of course, if we get to the FA Cup quarter-final and get a big team, we're 3 games from a trophy. And at that point, I maybe have to gamble. And most of the big boys, as you can see, United, Arsenal, City, still in that competition. But for now, let's focus on AS Monaco. The dynamics are great. Everything in the club is going well. We are, though, a couple of players short. Nothing to worry about because, as you remember, at the end of the last episode, we had pending deals, I think, for Kamara and Jensen. Can't remember if they left before we finished off because it's been a couple of days. But if not, they have both now left. Jensen and Valdo Kamara have both gone on loan to Celtic. They're playing there together and they're getting loan fees and all of their wages paid, which suits us down to the ground. So it means we've got a good squad for the Champions League. I think David Mira is the only one not registered. So let's go and get through this. Fabio Vieira needs to be shown onto his weaker foot. They've got a few familiar names, actually. Vieira, Balogun and Sargent. I'm just looking further back. Salisu in defence as well. Malay's still there. Fafana's still going. So actually, it's a relatively experienced squad, this, isn't it? Mo Kamara too. And it's not even sold out at Steve Tilson Park. You think the first time that Southend are playing in the Champions League, they get through to the playoff knockout, and you're telling me it won't sell out? Absolute nonsense. Let's have a look at the team then, because this is what played at the weekend. And you can see the match load is very heavy. We know Joe Wills is going to come back in, but I am going to rotate a bit aside from that. So let's go and get this 11 pick for today. Try and think about City in 3 days' time, but also about getting through. Back in a minute to run through the team. Well, it is almost a full rotation today, but we've still kept a few key elements and we've got a fairly strong bench if needed. So Jude Sadler stays in goal. He's been in brilliant form since signing his new deal and has become a very established keeper. Surprised he's not in the England squad based in the ones they've got in there. Let's have a look at the fullbacks where we've gone for 2 right backs, Asensio and Baranda. De Angelis has got a very heavy match load, played about 320 minutes in the last 2 weeks. Of course, we know Valdo Kamara has been loaned out. He wouldn't have been in this squad anyway, and Ishmael is injured. But that's why we've got squad depth, so we can play both of them. Parker and Rakowski, the 2 centre-halves. The man we signed at the end of the January window, the wonder kid. Hansen's not actually been training that well. Something's gone a little awry for him. So he's dropped to the bench for this one. We've got Takazuka and Sam Amo out wide with Berek and Harrison in the middle. Berek alongside Yukulano, both complaining about their contracts, but Yukulano has got a new deal pending, which he's agreed to. So that one will end probably by the weekend. And then up front, I've gone for Mauricio and Wills. Wills we know is suspended for the weekend. And then there, I'm going to play either Hugo and Mauricio alongside Ivanov. So Mauricio can start, Hugo will come on. And it means on the bench that Hansen, Hugo, Jimenez still needs a bit of match fitness. And then we have put, despite the fact he's not fit to play, I'm getting Alex Crowe as much senior squad experience as possible because now he's starting to look like he might really make it. Great potential, decent personality, and improving very, very quickly. So the senior squad beckons for him. If we do get sort of settled in 2nd, 3rd or 4th with nothing to play for, I will feature him a bit at the end of this year. He's now natural in the centre of midfield as well. So big future ahead. Might be the first superstar we produce. Let's go and submit the team for the Monaco game though. This one is about just getting through, doing a professional job with a rotated side. Then hopefully it will pay dividends against City, where everyone will be fit. Stefan Mallet has come in for Stefan Mallet. I'm not quite sure about that. Not really making sense, but we know a lot of the players. They've got a relatively full bench, a good manager. They're a good side. Stefan Bajic as a backup goalkeeper. I always forget about him. We had him in the Bristol City save in FM23, didn't we? So let's go and tell the lads, prove a point, get yourself motivated. Show me why you should be in the team at the weekend. We're playing City in 3 days. There's a couple of spots still up for grabs in that side, isn't there? As we go into the first half, we've got that 2-goal advantage. I'll be eagerly watching to see if Slavia Prague can shock Juventus. Wouldn't mind that as a last 8 draw in a couple of rounds if we can get there. But it is Monaco on the front foot first, and we need to do our job. Ball into the box is not cleared properly. Sargent's shot is blocked, and the second one's wide. Was that Balogun? He should have scored it. We've got away with one there. Zamani with the ball back to Salisu as Monaco playing out. Definitely started the better here. I've gone for fresh legs over the best quality players, and I might regret it. Because early doors, they're playing round us, and that shape is causing us all sorts of trouble. What a tackle, though. Parker does well. Takazuka finds Mauricio. That's so poor. He's not impressed me since coming in. He's actually rated the best striker at the club now. Joint level with Wills, ahead of Ivanov. But he never looks it when he's playing. As Fafana, back to Balogun, Sargent again. We're in big trouble. We are getting completely run around. And if they score soon here, Monaco, we could be in a spot of bother. Do I need to get in a holding midfielder to deal with what they're doing? Because they've got those 2 number 10s and it's causing us all sorts of trouble. Just looking at what my options are, could I drop Mauricio into attacking midfield? Maybe play Berek as a holding player? I don't know. I've got Asensio at right back, but I've not really got a holding midfield option for him, which seems a bit weird. Maybe it'll be Jimenez a bit later on. We'll wait and see. Might not be Hugo coming on after all. 15 gone. It's still 0-0 on the night, but we've had some worrying signs early on. The alarm bells are ringing in my head, I can tell you that. It has calmed down though a bit now, as Baranda's got a throw on the left to Joe Wills. He can produce the moment of magic that relaxes me as Berek goes wide to Baranda. Cutting in from the left to Sam Amo. 2 in the middle. Ball across. Balogun's all the way back there defending. It's away as far as Alfie Harrison, who looks over the top for Sam Ammo. That's a delightful ball. Deflecting, good goalkeeping. Reacted after a massive ricochet and deals with a second one from Miranda comfortably. That's a bit more like it. That's what we want to see. Let's encourage the boys. I don't really remember how it works. Yeah, you've got to praise them because these two-legged ties, the boys don't react to the performance on the night. They react to the tie situation overall. And it really does frustrate me as Takatsuka puts it in. Parker to Wills, who scores the goal from the header. What the hell are we checking VAR for there? Offside? A corner went back to 8 yards out and was headed in. Why on earth are we checking for offside? The goal's awarded. What a bizarre moment. It didn't look like there was a player in front of the keeper or anything. I don't get that. We're 1-0 up at the break though. We're going through. And Joe Wills is making up for his mishap domestically by firing us through in 2 Champions League legs. That's 3 goals for him in this tie now. And Monaco, despite that early dominance, didn't have a shot on target. We're looking very comfortable. So with half an hour to go, I might not have to find tactical solutions as Mauricio puts the corner in. Parker's up but loses it. And Sam Ammo with a chance on the left to put it in again. Mauricio still in the box. And as I've said before, might not be the most clinical with his feet, but in the air, he is a massive threat. Gets his goal, which will be a confidence boost for the weekend. 5-1 on aggregate. Professional job done. Let's make a couple of changes. We're definitely going to give Mauricio a rest because he's going to have to start at the weekend. Joe Hugo will come on and Joe Wills will switch sides. Soren Hansen, I'd like to give some football. So I'm going to let Parker have a bit of time off here. We'll keep Soren Hansen left centre half. Jimenez does need a bit of football, but probably not half an hour. And then I might bring Crow on for a few minutes later. But ultimately, he's fatigued anyway, so I don't want to risk injury. We'll maybe just give him 5 or 10 minutes experience. In centre midfield, we can replace both of them. I don't think there's anyone else we're going to need at the weekend. Sam Ammo would be handy. Maybe I could do that one now, actually. If I put Aaron Berek out to the left and bring Ammo off for Jimenez, we'll switch Harrison over. And then in a few minutes' time, we can do the final sub, which will be Alex Crow. And in fact, he can play off the left, so can take off Berek or Harrison there. And I'll do it for Berek. We're 10 minutes to go. He'll be replaced by Alex Crow. And a 16-year-old youth player is coming on in a Champions League knockout tie, getting a little bit of football, as the lads have done a fabulous job. Really professional after that slow start. And despite the Soren Hansen booking, we've seen it out really well. Good way to handle a 2-legged tie. Really good performance. And just like our debut Europa League season, our debut one in the Champions League is going swimmingly. Juve have still kept a few of the old boys about there, haven't they? Rakowski made his debut. I really thought I'd played him before. He's obviously going to play the Luton game as well, but that is some introduction. After the first 10 minutes, he was brilliant. Joe Will stole the show. He deserves big credit. Big money coming into the club so he can gamble on bigger signings next year. Everton get through as well against Ajax, which is great news. When is the draw for it? Not till next week, I don't think. Yeah, it's a little bit of a shame. But on Friday, we've got the FA Cup quarter-final draw. I'm safely assuming we're going to beat Luton, a League One side at home. So let's see who we'll be facing if we're able to do that, and then get to the big game against City on Saturday. Well, despite it not being listed originally, we do return with a Champions League round of 16 draw. We're not seeded because we were in a knockout round. I'm not going to show you the whole draw, but again, just want to show you who's in there. In the top pot, we are going to be facing one of these 8 sides. I mean, Brighton in the Premier League are having an awful year. They're struggling to cope with both, so that wouldn't be an awful draw. Otherwise, you're facing a giant. So who knows what the best draw is? We'll find out, won't we? Let's skip it, see who we get. Will it be a nice friendly one for us? It is Manchester United, top of the Premier League, absolutely flying. Rasmus Højlund always scores bucket loads against us. Thanks, UEFA, we're going out. Southampton v Luton has been rearranged. We're not going to worry about that for now, because first up, we want to know who we're facing in the FA Cup, which we'll find out tonight. And here it is. If we do get past Luton Town, who are we going to be facing in the FA Cup quarter-final? Again, just want to show you who's left. Fulham wouldn't be a bad one. Bristol City wouldn't be terrible. Otherwise, I'd probably like to avoid most of the rest. Let's see if we get luckier in this one. Don't be double United. Oh my God, it's double United. Shouldn't have even said it, should I? Cursed myself. So all of the cups we're going to be knocked out of by Manchester United. And now we've got to look ahead to a game against City, where perhaps this last chance saloon to have even an outside sniff at the title. It's also messed with the fixtures for the rest of the next month. Not really sure about why it's been scheduled like this. And again, look at it. We've got a week off in March between United and Luton. I know we'd have the quarter-final 4 days after. But now we've got this United round of 16 tie 3 days after this City match. So we're going to play our first team against City. And then no one's going to be fit against United. So if we avoid defeat in the Premier League game, I'm going to prioritise the League and the FA Cup because I think United will beat us over 2 legs. Let's go and get through to the afternoon game on Saturday and hope we can spring a surprise against Haaland and the boys. Well, we might have a bit of extra motivation because Arsenal are playing United in the early kickoff today, 3rd v 1st, and I don't know yet who's come out on top. So let's see if we can find the answer. Arsenal have come out on top. Weakens our case for 2nd, strengthens our opportunity at an unlikely title push. If we can get a result here and then back it up against the bottom half teams. They've got Asprilla, they've got Haaland, they've got Gavardio still going, Callum Doyle's still there, Van der Voort's in goal, Fresneda. They've got some good players, but they've also got 3 or 4 superb youngsters and a couple of others on the bench. I guess they might even be resting a few for us with Champions League on the way. Been a bit of a weird season for them because they've gone from back-to-back champions to now sitting in 7th, and they did it a few years ago as well. Just very hard to predict in FM. It seems to happen quite a lot. 10 changes recommended, basically the whole outfield team. That's what we'd plan for in this game, bar Mauricio perhaps. So let's see what they've gone for. Oh, they've just moved Mauricio over. So actually, probably the exact 11 I would pick. Memic at right back. What a player he's becoming. What a find he was. Bernberg as well. If I could find a left back that's the equivalent of Memic on the right, we could have an absolute field day. We've got Adamson improving. We've got, I think, a fully fit bench. I just need to see if it's well balanced or not. Parker's going to be the centre-half option. I'll put Asensio and Baranda as the full-back ones. We'll also then have Sam Amo as a winger, Takat Zuka as a winger, Berek, Harrison and Joe Hugill. Is that about right? I think it probably is. The only thought I'm having is maybe Mira for Sam Amo, who's played a lot of minutes recently. So that is the one I'm going to do because he can't play in midweek. Otherwise, we're going to stick the same. That means our 11 today, Jude Sadler keeps his place in goal, and up front, Mauricio keeps his place in the other position. The other 9 are all changed. We've got Memic, O'Day, Herbert and De Angelis across the back 4. Probably our settled first choice now. Yucolano and Adamson, the 2 wingers, with Bernberg and Jimenez in the middle. Really need some form from Adamson, who's been patchy in his first year. Teddy Ivanov returns with his 20 goals up front. He's alongside Mauricio, and Ivanov is only behind Højlund and Haaland in the scoring charts, with a chance to catch up with them today. Let's go and get into this one at Steve Tilson Park. After a comfortable job in midweek, imagine this one will be a little tougher. You can see they've made 6 changes, dropping out the likes of Inacio, Rico Lewis and Cherky. I mean, it's a pretty good side whichever way you look. I know he's ancient, but Phil Foden is just playing the perfect role of an experienced super sub there. And as we go into this, I'm going to encourage the lads who are already largely motivated. Just hope we get a response on the day, because if we can avoid defeat in this one, we're in a title race in my opinion. Probably need a victory to really say that. But just based on the running, it gives us a chance. Though City have got men over in the box here. I'm a bit worried about our marking. Oh, it's a big deflection. It's a very clever one from Asprilla, who maybe gets himself in there deliberately. But we've been done by a corner. And as soon as we set up for that, I was a little bit worried about how it looked. 5 minutes gone. We'll offer some encouragement, try and get the morale up. If we lose this, I think, ultimately, I do think it's a step too far anyway. But where we've added Memic, where we've added Mauricio the last 18 months, De Angelis and O'Day at the back, we've added real quality. We've improved 3 of our back 4, and Herbert has developed massively too. We are making strides, but I think the top of the table is maybe just a stretch too far. But don't rule us out yet. We love a late goal, and we might find a way just yet. So 10 minutes to the break. We've kept it quiet since the goal. It is just a set piece. They're not opening us up from open play. They're not carving us apart. And at half-time, it stays 1-0. We've still got a chance in this game, and I'm going to try and be aggressive here. We're going to tell the lads they've been poor, try and sort it out, try and get them motivated, because going forward, we've offered nothing, and we're straight on the front foot with a Memic throw on the right to Jimenez, and here he goes. Back to the edge for Jimenez again. Chance to cut it inside, Bernberg in support. Still that man now that we're looking to unlock a door. Such a young player for such quality. That from O'Day, though, very much the opposite. In a better defence this year, but not had the best first season at the club. He is stepping up to a new level, though, as Adamson breaks down the left. Looks for some magic. Finds Mauricio. Ivanov's up in support. Mauricio goes alone. Wrong option again. We do miss Joe Wills in a game like this. Still got this game and the next suspended. And that's why I was looking forward to the cup, because I think that would have counted. As Jude Sadler plays out from the back to Memic. He goes down the line. Space to run into. No one's really pressing him. Good ball in the end to Ivanov. And Yukulano's running off him, but Ivanov goes alone. Lays it off to Yukulano now, who gets to the byline. Crossing towards Mauricio. We know he's good in the air. But this time he wastes the chance. It's been a much better start to this second half. Just the intent to try and get forward. And you know if we can keep it up, we are a threat for a goal late on. You know we've got it in us. We've got 25 to go. Mauricio's morale is on the floor. He's playing awfully. So here comes Super Joe. Not Joe Wills. It's Joe Hugill this time. The legend is on. And I'm hoping he can deliver. When we get to the final 15, I'll gamble a few others as well. Teddy Ivanov is knackered, but he's going to stay on. We are going to take off, though. Adamson, who's struggling again. David Mira, go be a hero. Bamberg hasn't had his best game, so Berek will get a bit of football off the bench, albeit he's nervous. Do I bring him on? I think we have to gamble at some point, but I don't think that's the right one. O'Day's had an absolute stinker, so Harrison Parker on. That's why we rested him at the end of midweek. And I'll leave it at 3 for now. I just want one opportunity to fall for Joe Hugill, because he will take it, no matter what form he's in. Let's encourage the lads. I mean, look at this second half. Yes, City are maybe defending for it, but we're giving everything. I'm going to take off the right fullback, give us a little bit more aggression out there. I'm going to bring on Baranda for him. And then I'm also going to do the right midfielder ahead, Takat Zucut for Yukulano. Fresh legs out wide where we rely on creating chances. With 5 minutes added on, we're going to go attacking. We're going to go for it. City have held on for a proper smash and grab 1-0 away win. An early set piece, and we didn't get going quick enough. It's another one like Liverpool where we've lost 1-0, but we've really done enough to get something out of the game. And it's a frustrating day, but that's where we are at the minute. Without Joe Wills, if we're one player off, we're just that little bit short. Now we're only 8 points clear with a game in hand of 5th. We do need to be a bit careful looking over our shoulder. Manchester United are still away into the sunset, and we've got to choose what we prioritise now. Not many of them, based on how we finished, are going to be fit against United in 3 days. So let me know in the comments, do I throw the Champions League? Because I think we've got a better chance of beating United over 1 game in the FA Cup than we have over 2 in a Champions League tie. I'm not sure if you would agree with that or not. Let's see what's happened here. Joe Hugill's injured. Bruised thigh, 4 to 5 days. I didn't remember seeing that. Mauricio's going to get a pay increase next time. Is he not even on £9 a week? Jesus. I mean, fair play. Maybe I'm judging him unfairly if he's only on £7.5 a week. That is a remarkable deal. And he's not yet complained about a new one either. Let's get through to the schedule and see when we're going to be back. It's going to be one of 2 things we're going to return for. If the first leg, after playing at home to United with a rotated side, if that goes okay, we'll come back for the second leg if there's something to play for. We'll show that and then whatever comes after it. Maybe the FA Cup tie. Might even show the next Prem game. We'll see. If not, and we're not ahead going into that second leg, I think we'll come back for the first 2 Premier League games after the international break, because it's our final 3-game week in the Premier League, and it starts with, I would argue, the 2 toughest games remaining on paper. Everton are a Champions League side who have just had a poor year. Newcastle are returning to form and chasing us for a Champions League spot. And those 2 games will probably define whether the top 4 will be comfortable or not. We'll see how we're getting on before then, but if not, that's what we'll return for. If you enjoyed this one, though, a comfortable professional job against Monaco, building that coefficient and the prize pot up, but frustration against City in a game where we were better, just missing that clinical edge of Joe Wills. And please do put a thumbs up on it. If you want to stay up to date with the rest of the season, it could yet be a big finish, it could yet be a trophy chase, then please do subscribe and turn that notification bell on. We had a massive thrilling end to the Bundesliga season yesterday in the head coach. It was both comical and eventful to say the least, and it gets even funnier tomorrow. Make sure you come and check it out, it'll make you laugh. We'll be back with this one after on Thursday in a couple of days' time. But between now and then, loads of content on the football podcast with predictions from all the EFL playoffs, Premier League, National League final, etc. That's up there. You can also find a link to the Twitch channel for regular live streams and a lot more playlists up in the eye above too. But thank you very much for watching, for being here as always, and I'll see you back here next time as the race for the Champions League really hots up.